go in thinking that we have to convince the other person to like us, but what if you don't like them? Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Queer Connections podcast. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Keita, your queer love and dating coach. And this is my road dog, my homie, Rihanna Reed, which, you know, she needed a title, so this is going to be Dr. Love over here. No, she's going to be your dating and romance coach. Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're doing, because you know how romantic I am and the things I like to plan. If you need dates planned. I'm the one.
Look, if you need dates planned and you're like, this is where I live, like this is what I like to do, this is what they like to do, this one got it all. Got it all. Especially if you're in Austin or anything like that. But date planning, this is it.
Right here, guys. Just let me know. Let me know.
I mean, I used to do a little bit of date planning when I was matchmaking.
Yeah, I know. You're good at it too. It's just, I love it. I'm passionate about it.
You love it. You are passionate about it. I'm going to get you to
I got
me some dates.
I got you. I'll plan them all. Don't you worry about
it. Speaking of, we are going to be talking about dating stuff today, right?
All dating.
All dating. We're going to talk a little bit about what the dating stage is, which I've so much to say about that.
Same.
And then we're going to talk about like just the signs to look for, like how do you know someone actually likes you? So we'll talk about that, because I know I get a lot of questions, a lot of things of like, how do I know somebody's flirting with me? How do I know like they like me? That kind of stuff.
Did they run away? It's a good sign. If they didn't run away, they might like you.
Define running away.
It depends. Are you out? Is it a phone call? Like, we'll get into
Define running away. Yeah, let's talk about that. You want to start with, let's start with these dating stages, right? So I sent it to you.
You did.
And I'll post it up and on here for those of you that are watching on YouTube and watching the video. I'll post it on here, but we're going to read these dating stages. Now, this list, I have come across this list so many different times. And I feel like, but this one's a little different. It gets tweaked about like where people are in their stages of dating. So let's talk about the first one.
So the first one on this list is talking. Okay, so basically the description is, we've exchanged numbers, do things on a friendship level, and maybe even have sex. Testing the waters to see. That's what that talking stage is.
That's what that talking stage is. Okay. How do you feel about the talking stage?
I mean, in general, yes, but also sometimes you meet someone from across the bar and you immediately know you want to possibly pursue them or talk to them if we're going with the dating stage. And that's great. But what about when you meet somebody and just want to sleep with them, then it may turn into talking. I think we're kind of missing a stage there, right?
That's just like a link up, isn't it?
Right. I mean, it's friends with benefits, right? Or whatever you want to call it. It's before talking.
But are you friends if you're just having sex?
I mean, not necessarily, right? But to me, I think that happens sometimes too. We can't leave that one out.
Yeah. But I guess this is specifically for people that like want to date and eventually get into a relationship. Right. If you're like, oh, I just want to sleep with you, that's just hookups.
Catch flights, not feelings, right?
Catch flights. Exactly. Catch flights, not feelings.
Well, then in that case, I think I generally agree, right? When you're talking to someone, you're getting to know them as a person. You're probably now in this day and age texting or talking on social media or talking on multiple platforms at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe you're Instagram stalking, TikTok stalking. You're trying. I mean, listen, that's what we do, right? You're trying to get to know who someone is.
Yeah.
To see if it maybe can go to the next level. So I agree with that one. What about you?
Okay, so here's my issue with the talking thing, right? And maybe it's because of what the dating description says. It's the part where they're like, maybe we even have sex. Like, my thing is...
I already know where you're going with this.
My thing is like, what? Like...
Say it.
That's just... If you're doing more than talking, if you're like having sex, like that's not... I think you're past that. You're either having sex because that's all you're doing, or you're having sex Like, I don't know. You got to read the second one, right? Because
I mean,
second one, the dating part, it just throws me off because they're like, maybe we're having sex,
well,
but it's like,
here's how I take that, right? Like, sex and intimacy is a very important part of my relationship and who I am as a person.
Yep.
If I'm talking to someone and I don't sleep with them, and then they want to date and we sleep together, and it's not like, a good look, like, I might want to sleep with them while we talking to make sure, like, we can move on to the next.
So, okay, that's what I'm saying. So read the second one. This is why I think, like, we just be making up stuff, right? Because, like, why... Everybody just be so confused. So read. So there's talking, and then there's
dating is the second one, and this says we're spending time together doing various activities, for example, movies, bowling, concerts, dinner, etc. But we're doing that as friends with a mutual interest in each other, but we're still allowed to talk to other people.
Okay, so that's my thing. It's like, how you gonna throw in we're doing stuff as friends at this dating level? Y'all are not friends if you have had sex.
But like here's it's funny. I have a hetero friend, and she because I never agreed with that version of dating either, right? But she explained to me that, like, dating means, like, you're dating multiple people. You're getting to know multiple people.
Yep.
But you can still be friends with those people, because at that point, if it doesn't go anywhere, you can still be friends. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's how she explained it to me. So, right? Like, I mean, there's plenty of people that, if we're going by that definition, either one of us have dated and then stayed friends with and then maybe hooked up with later again on in the years. So don't act like you weren't living proof that you were doing it as friends.
I guess I guess the talking and the dating thing is just confusing to me. So I feel like, is that not one and the same?
Yes and no, right? Because you could be talking to someone and, to your point, just be hooking up, right? You're getting to know each other and you're going to their house and they're coming to your house and that's it. But then when you're now kind of dating, you're out there being social together.
Oh, so you're like going out on dates.
Going out and doing stuff, right? Okay. Dating, movies, that's what it said, right?
Yeah.
So talking can mean, like, we're just talking, getting to know.
But that talking is like, if we're just staying in the house and we just stay in the house and having sex, that's like a friends with benefits thing. You're not talking.
It is, but, like, tell me this. You've had people that you were truly friends with benefits. There was no way it was going to go to dating. You were not going to take them out the house. It wasn't going to be nothing. Mm-mm. But then there's other people that you're talking to. You never left the house for the first 3 weeks, month. And then you're like, I'd take you on a date.
See, I feel like instead of it being like a talking stage, it should just be like
exploring
or something, or like, I don't know, exploration or something.
Everything needs a label.
Better. I think we have all of these stages as, like, just ways to get out of things, because, like, if, like, the dating thing, it's like we're doing stuff as friends, and it's like, okay, but then if somebody has a complaint about something, I think that's a backdoor for people to be like, oh, it's not a big deal because, like, we're just friends, right? And it's like,
I mean, I get it, and we've talked about this before, how labels and paths are set by so many people. For me personally, I think it was created to be able to protect those people that don't want to move forward, and it's just like, hey, this is a clear cut boundary of where we are.
Yeah.
Right. If I say we're dating, that means we're friends. Right. Like I had to ask my girlfriend that when we began, like, we literally had that conversation. Like, it was, okay, we've slept together a couple of times. We've spent some time together. We're doing things socially. Like, are we dating exclusively? Are we just talking?
Well,
like, what's happening?
Yes, that's different in that realm.
But that's, like, the next one, right?
That is the next one. And I agree with that. I agree there's like a maybe you're, like, exploring, you're meeting people. Then it's like, these are the people you are going to date and, like, take out whatever and, like, do things with. And then yes, you decide who you are exclusively going to be in a relationship with.
I think it's harder for us because lesbians typically move faster.
Fucking
right? Like, that's what we do, right? Yeah. So for us, I understand the disconnect, right? And why my friend who was hetero, like, because she would spend weeks, months talking to a guy before she would go out on a date with him. Right? Like, we don't do that.
Months.
Like, yeah.
Months talking to somebody before
Yeah.
you even go out on a date.
Yeah.
See, I need like you gotta give
That's
me
that lesbian in you.
but no. My thing is, you gotta give me like some like I'm very much a like like we gotta have that in person time at some point, right? Like, yeah, we gotta.
But our time frames are shortened.
About my
but our listen, your situation.
My situation before I start. You
better think about it.
I didn't think about that, but no, like
I mean,
like,
your situation.
Like
you're literally living proof right now, bro.
Of what?
You're in a talking stage right now.
Well, yeah, well, because I'm not really
but you don't like
dating
the term, but
anybody.
So then, aren't you really utilizing the term talking?
I would prefer it to be. Well, there are some people I'm talking to, and there are some people that we not talking about anything except for like, hey, you're coming over, like.
But that's friends with benefits.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like that first stage is like it's got to be like you're exploring.
What are you doing to explore over here? Like, come on.
I mean, because some people get caught up, they catch feelings, and then
but that's not your problem, right? As long as
that is not my problem. I'm straight up. I'm
exactly.
straight up and honest about what it is.
So I think you're getting hung up on semantics, right? Like you don't like the word talking, but it means exactly what you're doing currently.
I just don't like. I think like all of these. I think it's just like, okay, cool. You're exploring, trying to figure it out. Then yes, you're going to be dating a few people, and then you decide the person that you're going to be in a relationship with. I feel like all of the other stuff, like in between, like we're doing this as friends, and yes, we're having sex up here, but like maybe not right here. Like those things, I'm just like, it feels like a lot of just back doors for people to like get out of Dodge if they need to, instead of just straight up having a conversation about what it is that they want.
Agreed.
Where,
but that's
when,
a
how,
whole
all of that.
Another topic, right? Like that's communication, right? Because if people start communicating well and properly, you don't even need these stages.
Yeah.
Like this is just where we're at.
Yeah.
Right. And so again, I agree with you. Having to have a label on everything is somewhat ridiculous, but yeah, I mean the talking phase is exploration, and you might be exploring with multiple people.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
And you don't date everybody.
No, 100%.
No, you
what about
do not
you guys?
take everybody out.
Do you have a different word other than talking that you would like? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, throw it down there in the comment section if you have it, because apparently I'm hung up on this talk. I mean, because yes, you're talking to people. I'm just like, I just
talking me. I mean, are you coming over tonight? Is talking like you might not be talking about a subject, but you talking.
We're exploring each other.
I bet you are
in that way. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have talking, we have dating. What's the next one?
Yeah, let's see what the next one is and see how we agree with that one. Dating exclusively.
Okay.
We are dating, however, we have cut off all other people. We're interested in focusing on us and getting to know each other better.
Okay, and then the last one is?
The last one is going to be relationship.
And that says?
We have made a mutual agreement to become a couple. It is you and me, point blank, period.
Okay, so what's the difference in that and dating exclusively? If in the dating exclusively stage, you have cut everybody off. Mm-hmm. It's just you two getting to know each other. What's the difference between that and a relationship?
So I have two sides of this coin personally.
Okay.
Right?
Give it to me.
I don't think there's a difference.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But the romantic in me likes differentiating because I like the grand gesture to make it official. Right?
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
I got you. Yes, yes. You want it to be like, will you be my girlfriend?
I want it to be that official. So I like the difference in that regard, but no, it's the same thing.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, if you were cutting off everybody else, y'all in a relationship.
You're in a relationship.
You were in a relationship. Like you're still getting to know each other, but that's just what relationships are anyway. Well, like no matter what stage you're in.
But. A certain mutual friend is dating exclusively a man. And to her, we're dating exclusively, but I haven't introduced him to my family, so we're not in a relationship yet. Right? Like, We're not ready to call it a relationship because then it becomes like,
Did you see the backdoor thing?
No, listen, I'm on your side.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, oh, well, I have to introduce you to my family for us to be in a relationship. It's just been you and him, or you and her,
or her and her,
or her and her, whatever. This entire time, what do you mean you're not in a relationship?
No, I agree. People they need that easy out clause. The easy out clause. And that's what it is. It's protecting people that want to be able to hop, skip, and jump.
So then, if you're trying to hop, skip, and jump, why are you even dating?
Well, I keep using examples of people.
You're like, I know. I was like, who we talking? And I know who you're talking about. So like, yeah. Who we talking about now?
I have another friend that said he was dating somebody, and he didn't communicate properly, and it turned into marriage.
Hold the hell on. Hold the hell on. You can't be. Y'all hear how ridiculous that sounds?
That was not me.
Please tell me y'all hear how ridiculous that sounds. How does a miscommunication in dating?
He was like, we dated too long and it turned to marriage.
See, but this is I get it. This is a valid point. I need everybody to hear me and listen to me. That is what I call sliding into a relationship. Actually, Logan Ury, who wrote How to Not Die Alone, that's what she calls it, and I love it, and I've just like taken it. That's sliding into a relationship. That is spending so much time with somebody, and y'all somehow just find yourself intertwined, and then months and years down the road, you look at each other like, who are you? Like, how did you get here? Like, I don't even know who you are, and y'all are in a relationship, and y'all do this. Y'all are just sliding into a relationship instead of actually deciding to be in one. So I could see maybe the difference between that dating exclusively and being in a relationship is like you are deciding, but I feel like there's a decision to date exclusively. There's a decision to be like, it's just us. We're both getting off apps and cutting off other people that we were talking to. Mm-hmm. That is a decision which requires a conversation. And I feel like so many people get caught up in relationships or freaking marriages like that because they are not actually having those conversations and deciding.
Well, you know what? You actually bring up an interesting point, right? So as I was sitting here thinking, listening, dating exclusively and being in a relationship, it could be, dating exclusively, you are cutting everyone off, right? Yep. And to your point, you're still deciding if you want to be in a full-blown relationship, but you can't do that with other distractions, right? Because I know me personally, if I'm dating multiple people, you're not going to get enough of my attention for me to decide if I actually want to be in a relationship.
Well, when you're like, oh, we're going to be exclusive and focus
maybe
on
that's why, though. Yeah. Maybe that's that in-between stage that some people need to be like, well, I'm only going to be spending time with you. I'm only going to be sleeping with you. Let me see if I still like you in a month or two.
So if you are dating multiple people, right, and your attention is scattered, do you have a hard time picking just one person? I keep track.
I keep track, but also if I like one more, that starts to show, obviously. Yeah. So to that point, I think me dating exclusively would be me to determine if one of those people was someone I would want to be in with permanently or for a long time, right? So I could see where dating exclusively would be slightly different than a relationship, right?
It sounds the same on the definition. It sounds the same on the definition. It's the same thing to me. But I have seen it to where people use things like this as like backdoors to get out of things.
I feel like you got some trauma there, bro.
I don't. I don't have any trauma there. I'm just like, I feel like we create these things and we create these levels and these labels and these stages so we don't have to commit.
No, and that's true for a lot of people.
Commitment issues? Have I been hurt?
No comment. But no, true in some cases. But like I said, then you have people like yourself that, if we're going to date exclusively, like, let's call it what it is. And then you have people like me that's a romantic and it's like, yeah, we're dating exclusively and I'm not going nowhere and there's nobody else. But you got to give me a minute to make it like a grand gesture and be ridiculous.
I mean, I will make it a grand gesture, and like I'm romantic too.
No, I'm not saying,
but
you're
I'm
not.
just. I know. I'm kidding. No, but I guess I'm just. I don't know. I think I don't like the. There's too many stages.
Too much wiggle room.
Too much wiggle room for all of that. It's like this is where we're gonna be, or this is where we are right now. This is possibly like where we're headed. There's no like time frame or anything on it. Like, because I think it's more about like your intention versus attention. There's a difference.
Agreed.
And so, yeah, so I look at that of like, and I have my own little checkpoints and my requirements and things like that. But I will go from like, okay, cool, we're talking, I guess, or exploring, to dating, to like, we're going to be exclusive / being in a relationship. Because I'm not going to be exclusive with you if I don't want to be in a relationship with you.
True, but you're very self-aware. A lot of people are not, and they need those definitions, right? It's just like, the country song "Breaking Up Was Easy" in the 90s, right? Like, dating was easier then too, right? It was just like black and white. Here's what we do. Here's what we don't do. Now, to the point we've made a couple of times, there's a lot of different labels, a lot of different things, and some people really need to know where they stand, right? We know where we want to go.
You gotta talk to each other.
Yeah. Communication's an issue. We talked about that too. Like, communication is an issue, right? That we go back to that all the time.
Yeah.
But there are some people that just need to hear it, right? In order for
they
them
need the stages to check and be like, where
check in, where
are we?
Exactly.
Like, to know. You
just
could just
ask. You
them.
don't, right? Like,
you could just ask. But people have different definitions. I get it.
Different definitions. And what if you get somebody that doesn't know? This is where defining it comes in.
What do you mean? Doesn't know what?
What they want or what to call it, right? You talk about it.
You don't know what you want. Don't come over here. I mean, that's just like, that's how I feel about it. But I also...
Really? Because I know you... Really?
I mean, you...
It's the chase, right?
Oh, so bad. It's nice sometimes, okay?
So those people don't know what they want. So don't just... You can't make that blanket statement right now. You can't.
Well, you made it seem like... They know what they want. They just scared. So
I believe that in my soul.
You believe that 100%.
100, and we're gonna make we'll those wages.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
Bottle of Jack.
You know what I want? Tequila all day,
all the way.
But yeah,
that's a different conversation.
So for you, you don't really see a difference in dating exclusively versus being in a relationship.
Yep.
What if you were hanging out with someone that does see a difference? How do you broach that to help with the communication?
You just have a conversation about it, and like I can get caught up in it, like, oh no, we're in a relationship or whatever, or I cannot, right? I think I have a choice. I can go, well, this is how I want to look at it, and this is where I am, and so we either are gonna agree on this, or I'm gonna bounce and be out because like I want to be in a relationship. I think that's pretty extreme. I think that is an option though. But for me, it's just the communication piece, right? Like when we get to the dating exclusively relationship piece, that can be a conversation of, I guess, when we call it a relationship or whatever the case may be. But as long as we have decided it's going to be us two and we're going to get to know each other and we're going to build this, I'm not so hung up on that. Now, if we get in that dating exclusively conversation, that's a little bit different. Because if you still want to stay out here and be out here, but I don't,
might need a
we might need a.
I need a bump through. No, yeah. And I get that, and I think a huge disconnect on our side, truly as lesbians, is we fly through these stages, right? That's why there's not a difference for us, right? It's like we just we're talking one day, and then in a week we're dating exclusively, and 2 we're in a relationship, in a month we're moving in, but
here's the thing: I tell people this all the time. I'm not so concerned about like the U-Haul aspect, the timing. It's not the timing. It's about the intention. Like, you can have so much, you can have like all of these conversations and really dig in and talk about fears and insecurities and intimacy and communication and like money. You can dig into that. You can have all those conversations and like, I don't know, a few weeks time and like a month time, and you want to be with somebody, like you choose that person. Great. The problem with U-hauling is the only agreement that most people have made is that we like each other and we're going to move in together. And like, you haven't had any conversation.
Agreed. You posed that to me, right?
Yeah.
And so, you posed that to me in my relationship.
Yeah, because everyone's like, it's too soon. It's too soon.
And it wasn't a month. It was like 6. But nonetheless, and we had a very candid conversation that we talked through all those things. Yeah. And you were like, well then, bro, like,
if you talk through it and you're solid and you got it, like, at least you know what actions to, like, look for, or, you know, y'all are in agreement on more than just, like, you like each other and you're going to move in together. Do what you do.
You know, like I said, I do think between the queer community and the hetero community, these definitions, I truly believe, come more from the hetero time frame, right? And because they date a little different than us.
Well, because most of us are trying to play catch up. You know, think about it, like, well, with the exception of, like, Gen Z, shout out to y'all, because y'all got middle school queer relationships, so props to you for that.
Yeah, we definitely have that.
We definitely didn't have that. So most of us are playing catch up. Most of us didn't get to go to prom, or, like,
not with the
girl. Yeah, not with the girl, and, like, date. Speaking of, I went to prom with this we decided as seniors, we were going to take a group of sophomore boys, and I took this look, first off, the dress I had on was fire. It was free because it was the same dress my sister wore the year before.
Tell me you have a prom picture.
I do.
I have one too. We gotta show
this. I will show you. And I took this little country ass sophomore white boy. I left him at some point.
I got questions. Why sophomores? I can get with the boy thing. I
don't know why.
He's already mature.
I don't know why we decided sophomores. I don't know why we decided sophomores. There was like a group of us seniors, and yeah, I don't know why we
outreach.
I think we just wanted to take random people, so we decided we were going to take like sophomore boys.
To know what we were thinking back then to do that.
I have no clue. I was just like, I don't want to. I mean, I don't know who I'm going with, because who I want to go with, I can't go with.
I actually asked my girlfriend at the time, and she didn't want to go. I was about to be pioneering.
She didn't want to go?
She didn't want to go. She didn't go to my high school, and that time back then. And so I ended up actually taking a friend of mine from middle school who happened to start dating a girl in my high school like a month before prom. So I took him so he could be with her. So,
see, the things we did. Man. Things we did. But see, those are things we did. And so now we're having to play catch up. I think that's what a lot of the U-Haul is. You also have to consider, like, way, way, way back in the day when people used to get fired for...
Or beat up.
Yeah, or beat up for being outed. So, like, now you got... we're just roommates. You got a roommate situation. So I think, like, the U-Haul aspect is for lesbians, queer women, it's ingrained in us because of the way in which that we've had to maneuver for safety. And also the fact that we're just trying to fucking catch up. We are trying to catch
It's like
up.
When you said the roommate, the movie The Happiest Season. Yes. Kristen Stewart, one of my favorites, by the way. She's like,
I can't stand that movie.
What?
I cannot stand that movie. That is
not
the lesbian feel-good. I made a whole video on that. That is not the lesbian feel-good movie of the year at all whatsoever. I watched that thing once. I was disgusted, and I have never watched it again.
Listen, but that was our life back then.
I know.
Maybe that's why it triggered you so much. Because think about it. That was accurate. It might not be accurate to life now.
Yeah.
But her being like, oh, we share a room, and then her sister's like, or share the house, and her sister's like, isn't it a 1-bedroom? We converted the pantry.
Yeah.
Just coming up with stuff. Like, that was our life. What do you mean? Like, it was a perfect depiction of how we lived.
Yeah, I know. But all, like, lesbian, queer movies are like that. And I'm sick of them being like that.
So we should make
we should
make one about me and Bella.
Huh? Yeah,
that was different.
That was great. Like, y'all's story is awesome.
We can make that.
Let's make one about that. Something other than, like, the trauma of what it is to be invited to your girlfriend, who is now your roommate friend's parents' house, and then, like, her just fucking hiding you the whole time.
She's not triggered at all.
And then outing you and blaming it on you, like, and then going, oh, I'm sorry, like, everything's okay. No, I will punch you in the face. I cannot stand that movie. I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna have to make her rewatch it and talk from a different angle.
No, I am not rewatching that movie. I'm not rewatching. I said it was going to be a terrible movie even before I watched it.
I enjoyed it. It was so accurate. It wasn't the fun.
Kristen Stewart deserved better. You deserved better.
She's in a new one that's out too.
I watched that. I haven't watched it.
Some bleeding, love live bleeding.
Look,
I haven't watched it yet.
Look, you gotta watch it.
Okay,
you gotta watch it.
I will watch it on my trip.
It's demented and like off.
Of course, you like
but
that
like
one.
but it's still good. But it gets a little like outlandish at the end. You're like, what the fuck was that? But
all right,
it's a happy ending.
Okay, well, we'll have to watch it. Happiest Season was a happy ending.
No.
Now I'm just gonna tease you about this movie all the time. But bro, you wanna watch Happiest Season?
Anyways, we're gonna change the subject because it's just gonna have me go off about this movie. Okay, so we're gonna switch and get off of dating stages because apparently I'm gonna post the stages underneath, like in the comments, so everybody knows what we're talking about. If you're just listening to the podcast, but we got to talk about how you know someone likes you. They do not invite you to your family's house and you're not out yet. That's what they don't.
That's one thing they don't do.
But yeah, so a lot of people are like, how do I know somebody's flirting? How do I know somebody likes me? How do I know they're not just being nice?
Well,
you're the romantic over here. So
true, but are we talking about in a public setting, private? Right? There's so many different keys, right?
Well, let's do like public first. Like, say you're meeting somebody, like you meet
someone out in a random situation.
So let's take it step by step, right? Like, so you meet somebody, you see somebody across the room. How do you know that you should go over and talk to them and that they want you to talk to them?
Well, first of all, I don't think you ever really know.
You're never gonna know
100%. But with that, it's if you feel like you'll regret not going, you should at least try. First of all. I think that's the first step. And, eye contact, huge, right? People will show you if they're interested, whether or not, if they're engaging with you, talking with you, looking at you, right? Because especially in these day and age, everybody's on their phone like this, right?
Yeah.
So if you have someone's attention, that's your first cue, right?
Yeah, I usually say if they make eye contact with you at least 3 times, then... And especially if one of them is like, they look at you and then they do like kind of up and down thing, go over and talk to them. They're like checking you out. They're checking you out. You see their eyes. What is it? This intimacy coach I know, like she does like the triangle. Have you seen it? Let me do. So you do like the little triangle. If their eyes go below the line, go talk to them.
I mean, I agree, and it's just like if you keep catching eyes with them. To your point, 3 times. I mean,
at least 3 times. Third time,
it's time to talk. Like and maybe it turns into nothing, but then again, maybe it turns into everything. So, how do you know?
So sappy.
Hey, this is what I do. But okay, so for you, after they've looked at you 3 times, or they've left the triangle, and you're left the triangle, and then you're chatting. How do you know that they are now romantically interested? What are your cues that you look for?
Romantic interest,
or interested in getting to know you.
Interested in general. I think if anybody is spending a significant amount of time having a conversation with you, and they're not, their body language is facing towards you, and they're not like turned, trying to look like they're trying to escape. You really have to pay attention to people's their eyes, their hips, and genital area, and their feet, because they will typically divert. If they're trying to leave, they will point their feet in a different direction, or their eyes, or something. They're going to look like, hey, I'm trying to like get out of here.
Like I'm talking to you, but
I'm talking to you, but not really. So you want to pay attention to their body language, and also just like actually listening to their responses. If they're doing the response of like, oh yeah, me too, or that's cool, or whatever the case may be, this also applies in text, then they're probably not interested. Agreed. But if they're engaging with you, they're asking questions about you, and they're wanting to get to know you, then I would say that they're interested. Now, you do have to throw in a little bit of flirting in there to separate the, oh, you seem really cool, like we could be friends, versus, there may be something there, like,
How do you flirt? What do you do to flirt?
I don't know. I don't know. I literally think it's just like the smile, and it just.
I try and break the touch barrier.
Oh yeah.
I try and break the touch barrier. That's usually my big indicator, especially being mask presenting. They know, for the most part, they know I'm interested. You get the ones out there that it just goes over their head. So I'll try and, break the touch barrier and see if that have a visceral reaction to like want to move away or something like that. And I'll inch a little, like get kind of lean in.
Yeah,
and
you gotta like
get that lean, invade that space. I do that as well. And if there's no reaction or, no stepping back, or to your point where they're looking like they want to leave, I'm like, okay, you got something here.
Got him.
Hook, line, and sinker. And if you talk more than 5 minutes, it's over.
Yeah, you shouldn't. I'm not going to say you shouldn't. So I think for people that are worried about how long the conversation needs to go, you can do what I call power introduction, right? So power introduction, you're going to make at least 2 rounds, maybe 3 if you're unsure about somebody. But you go in, you go up to them, you kind of introduce yourself. If you don't know what to say, ask somebody their opinion, because people love to give their opinions, but you got to do it like in a smooth way. You have to be like, okay, so my friends and I we're in this debate, and you look like an intelligent, sensible person, and I really need you to like. I love those
compliments like you do in there.
And I need you to like really solve this for me. So who do you think J-Lo is better with, Ben Affleck or fucking what's
Mark Anthony?
Mark Anthony.
Ben all day. Just to answer that.
Do you see how
just
easily
pulled me in?
Like, I know you see how easily you did that. So, so you can do like something like that. It doesn't have to be about J-Lo, but you know what I mean. And so you talk for a little bit. You maybe time yourself, minute and a half, somewhere in that. Then you leave. You're like, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you. Whatever. Blah blah blah. Hope to see you later. Da da da. Go around. You make a little round. While you're making your rounds, you're trying to decide. Red, yellow, green. Like, red, don't go back over there. Don't talk to them. There's some in it. Not interested. They're not interested. You're not interested. Flag, don't go over there. Yellow, you're not so sure.
So you need a second round.
So you need a second round to go back. And you get a little deeper on the second round. But if it's like green, go. Like, you're like, yes, there was just something there. Great. The second time around, you have to get some type of contact information.
I like that. And do you ask for social media? Or do you ask for phone number these days? I
ask for phone numbers.
I'm a phone number. I'm
we're
dating ourselves again.
I know, right?
Because we also like to pick up the phone and call. So.
Oh, I know.
When I'm in the car, I want to call and talk. Don't text me. Don't Instagram me. We can get to social media later. I want to know who you are. I don't want to see your world through Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, I don't really do like Instagram, Facebook, that kind of stuff. Like, I'll use Snapchat. We can snap.
Snapchat's
we can
fun.
Snap.
We love Snap. We love Snap.
But like Snap, text, great. But yes, I get phone number in some way, shape, or form. That's just
me too. And I typically there's a great question. When do you send the first message? When do you reach out?
I don't know. I mean, I say sooner rather than later. And it could just be really simple of like, hey, like, want to make sure, I don't know if you do like the phone number thing of like texting your name or whatever, but just like, hey, it was really nice getting to know you. Can't wait to talk later, or like whatever the case may be. And just something real simple like that with a little like smiley emoji, and then that's it. You can do it the same night.
I am very much same night type of person. Yeah. To get it out there, I'm a very passionate person in life, so I don't feel the need to edit that if I meet someone because this is who I am.
Yeah.
So I'll typically, send my name, and then later I'll say, hey, it was great to meet you. I'll hit you up in a couple of days. Like I'll put a pointed like text like that. Like I'm gonna message you. Yeah. Right. I tend to do that and just be prepared. Like it's coming.
It's coming.
Right. But I also kind of swing for the fence. If I am interested for someone and I know that, I'll ask them on a date then and there. Like let's get assumptions out of the way. Like why do I need to wait to text you? Like I want to know who you are. Right. So it's like, hey, we've been having great conversation. I'd actually love to take you out. Like I tend to do that. And
people are not that smooth. I love it though. I love it. I don't know. Maybe we gotta teach people how to be smooth again or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, because that's something I would do too. But also, people are. I don't know. I feel like people are like so traumatized. I get it, right? Because like you have met some crazy people on like dating apps or out and about or whatever. So some people I feel like would find that a little off-putting, but it's also like
you don't want those people.
Yeah, you don't want those people. You can say no, like, hey, I want to like get to know you a little bit more before we go on a date. But if you're sitting there talking to somebody for 2-3 hours, you might as well just go and schedule the date.
Exactly. And
what else are we talking about through text and all of that?
Yeah, and that's exactly my point, right? The reason I swing for the fence, so to speak, is because if they say no, then, okay, maybe I have a friend out of it. We can chat. Obviously, I clearly liked talking to them.
Yeah.
But if not, and they're just like, no thanks, then it's like, okay, cool. I know where I stand. The boundaries are set, and here we go. I don't have to guess anymore.
Yeah.
I don't like guessing.
Sometimes you just have to stop inviting people.
Yes.
Places.
And then they show back up. It happens.
They do. They just pop back up randomly.
Was it random?
I don't know. Was it?
I didn't do it. You did that yourself.
I didn't. I did do it.
Yeah,
I did it to
you
myself.
were very intentional. And that's another thing.
I am very intentional.
That is another thing with flirting. Be intentional, actually.
Yes. Here's the key. Here's what I would say. This is when you're thinking about being intentional, right? 2 things, right? When people talk about flirting or like wanting to know if somebody likes you, I think that's the biggest problem with flirting is that we go in thinking that we have to convince the other person to like us. But what if you don't like them? Like, why? Like me, when I go and I flirt with somebody, I'm like, I'm about to go over here and see if this person is as interested or as interesting as I think that they are, so I can see if they match my vibe. I'm not going over there like, oh my gosh, I hope they really like me. Nope. Well, that's not my concern. We're gonna find out, but I would like to find out if I like you first.
Well, yeah, especially with big personalities like you and I have, right? Like we have to have a certain level.
FYI, I'm a Leo. She's a Scorpio, so if you couldn't tell by my hair,
that Leo, that lion's mane there. No, but then that's the thing, right? Having such a big personality, more times than not, I'm going over there to figure out if we can vibe.
Yeah.
Right? And not that I'm this great, amazing thing because they might not like me, but
yeah.
I have a big personality. Like you got to be able to keep up with that. And if you can't, like it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's where most people mess up when they're flirting or trying to figure out if do they like me, but it's like, do you like them? Like, if you like them, great. Go over there and see if you will still like them after talking. Because some people look great from across the room, and then they open their mouth, and you're like, Jesus, get me out of here.
Or they have 2 shots of tequila.
Yeah. And 100 open tabs. We have a lot of, like, inside jokes coming in
we do
on this, and I love it. But, yeah, so I think that you have to really go in. And then I also tell people, if you have a hard time getting into that mode of like, okay, like I'm going to see if I like this person, you want to think about all the things you have to offer and choose 3 things. One of them has to be physical. And if you have to say these things to yourself to kind of pump yourself up before you go out or before you go and like talk to somebody, do that. So my 3 things are, I'm smart, I'm funny like Kevin Hart, and have the best lips for kissing.
And short like him, too.
And no one needed you to add that in there. Everybody knows that I'm short. Okay. Actually, most people don't. Most people think I'm like 5'5", 5'6".
And that lets you know how short she is.
anyways. Yeah, so I'm funny. I'm smart, I'm funny like Kevin Hart, and I have the best lips for kissing. And so knowing that, I'm like, that's what they're about to get. They're about to get all of this. And then when I talk, I can like insinuate my lips a little bit, like all that. Because I know those are the things that I have to offer, and I'm going to see, like, do we vibe in that? Can this person vibe with that? Can they vibe with my intelligence or, my jokes because I'm funny? And do they keep looking at my lips? Like, those are the things, right? You kind of, so you got to like gear yourself up. So you want to think about what are 3 things. Choose 3 things that you love about yourself. One of them has to be physical. And then just like start embodying that, repeating it to yourself, and it'll start to shift.
3 things.
Yep. Just 3, because you can't get too many.
Well,
but
obviously.
Pick like, yeah.
One of mine is my dancing.
But you have to have 3. Is there dancing?
You're gonna put me on the spot right now.
Yes,
like,
I am. I don't care if you're in a relationship or not. Let's go.
No, I know. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious.
I'm sounding like my grandma right now. Oh wow. Okay, so I am very eclectic. Okay. That is a big one for me. So I like a little bit of everything.
Okay.
So that's a huge one for me.
Okay.
My style, the way I like to dress. That's probably my physical one because I match my shoes and my you know how I do.
You're stylish, okay?
Yeah.
Eclectic. You're stylish, and then
dancing.
What about you? Have to like.
I'm a decent dancer.
Just decent? That's how you hype yourself up. I'm a decent dancer.
I enjoy dancing. I used to be in a hip hop dance crew, and I danced to country.
Lucky.
Really, you gonna bring that up? But. So, because something that's non-negotiable for me is I need a partner that's going to dance with me. So
you got one.
I definitely got one. So when I go over there, I'm usually, I want to see how they react to me dancing.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal, right? Because some people shut down.
And, just dance in front of them.
I mean, that is how I used to pick up chicks in my 20s. Because then I didn't have to do anything.
Yep.
I just danced and they talked to me about my dancing. It was a safe space, guys. It was safe. If I was interested, I would just go dance next to her and she'd be like, "Oh my God, can you teach me?" You were there.
I was there. I wasn't dancing in front of people.
It worked. It worked.
It definitely does. It definitely does work.
But I might have to revamp those now that you're asking and challenging me of that.
They gotta be solid and strong. They just gotta flow out. You can't be like, I'm a decent dancer.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to be.
You're eclectic and you break it down on the dance floor or something something like that.
There it is. You got it.
I want to hear y'all. So throw y'all 3 things.
3 things about yourself
in the comments, so we know.
Yeah. So and that's the power introduction. Second round typically.
Yeah, second round. Yeah, you get a little deeper on the second round.
Is there an instant where there's a third round?
You can do 3 if you're still in that second round, if you're still unsure. Or I tell people that I coach, if they have kids and they're trying to find a way to kind of throw that in the mix, which if you have kids or if there's this one thing about you, if you work a lot or whatever, don't carry that around baggage. Make it a superpower and introduce it in that way, right? And so maybe if they're having a hard time doing that or there wasn't an opening for mentioning a particular thing, then maybe you want to go the third round because you couldn't get a read on them on the second. Or if you're bouncing around, you're meeting several people and you're trying to narrow it down, then you might need a third round.
So I definitely get that. For me, a third round would be, again, like we've talked about, we have big personalities, so sometimes we can carry the conversation.
Yeah.
So a third round for me would be intentional to see if they can carry the conversation, just to listen, right? Because you get so excited, we do so many things, so many different interests, so that would be an instance where I would maybe do a third round. They seem to be engaging, but let's hear about them, let's talk to them, and just be more listen, just sit there and listen. So.
That's me on the second round.
Huh? Mm-hmm. Depends on where we're at, I guess.
Yeah.
And how many you need to narrow down from.
I'm having a great summer, y'all. I'm having a great summer.
Hot girl summer for the win.
What other ways have we not mentioned to know if somebody
is interested in you?
Yeah. Or maybe even just flirting with you, because some people don't know when people are flirting with them.
We know a few people like that.
A few people like that. Couple of people.
Oh goodness. What would be a direct way you think someone would know that, or not know, I should say, that they're getting flirted with?
A direct way to know that somebody's flirting with you? They invade your space. They touch you. They're giving you compliments. I would think those are probably top 3.
I would definitely agree. So what if you've been hanging out for a little while and you're still unsure? How do you do that?
Unsure about what?
Oh, that's there's people out there that ask that question.
So how long have we been hanging out? Let's put it on the court?
I don't know, 3 to 6 months maybe.
That is very specific. Okay, so let's pick 4 months. Okay,
4
we've been
months.
hanging out for 4 months.
Okay.
How often are we seeing each other?
All the time, pretty regularly.
Pretty regular. Okay, daily, weekly.
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 Let's say
Okay.
weekly.
Seeing each other weekly for about 4 months. The question is, do they like me?
Yeah. There's people out there that ask those questions. Am I wrong, guys? There's people out there.
Okay, so I guess it depends on the time that you're spending together. Is it intentional? Like,
Or
are
just
they
filling
are
their
they
calendar?
embrace? Yes. Are they like? Do they embrace you? Like, are they
See, and the
again touchy?
reason I bring this
Do
up
they
is
compliment
because
you?
I think it's pretty obvious that they're interested and like you,
Mhm.
but I think maybe people are worried that their intentions for the relationship don't align. Right? So they get nervous about that versus do they like me? And so then it's just the basic question, do you think they like me? Well, clearly they like you.
Yeah.
You're not going to spend time with someone you don't like, but do they have the same intentions as you? Right? Like
that is a better question than do they like me? Because obviously if they're spending time with you, they like you, but what their intention is, that
may not be clear.
That is a conversation.
Agreed.
That is a conversation to have of, this is where I'm at. You have to be vulnerable in the beginning.
It's never fun.
Right? Which is never fun. But, leaders go first. So you do. You have to be like, hey, just want to have a conversation. But excuse me, I'm going to be, very vulnerable here in this aspect. But this is where I am at. And I want to get a feel for where you're at. What's your intention moving forward, that kind of stuff, to see if you're on the same page, in the same book, whatever. And it doesn't mean you have to get into the dating
grid, yeah.
the stages and go, okay, well, we're this. You don't have to get into that, but clarity is the key, is what I always say. And so it's good to know where their intentions are if you have questions about that.
No, I agree. And this is, what I love about being vulnerable first is even if they don't agree or we're not on the same page or in the same book, as you said, I want them to be able to at least accept my vulnerability.
Yeah.
Because if they can't, then I shouldn't move forward with them anyway, no matter how much I like them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you'll tell a lot about where they're at, what their intention is by the way that they react. If they kind of back up and they're like, whoa, I thought we were just having a good time. Like, what is this? Then it's like, clearly gotta bounce up out of there. But if they're like, really appreciate you being, open and vulnerable, like, here's where I'm at and all that, and they're like engaging in the conversation, I think that is
I do too, but I do think it needs to be said that some people get offended, right? If they're like, what do you mean, where are we at? Right?
Yeah.
Like, they think you're on the same page and you're not. And so for those people out there, I definitely say, don't be afraid to be vulnerable and talk more, right? Because they may view it one way and you another. It's the same thing. You just aren't communicating that.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've had instances.
If it's the same thing.
Yeah, if it's the same thing. But I've had people, where you're vulnerable and you're like, this is where I'm at. I really like you. I want to go to, and they're like, well, what do you mean? Of course. Like, why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah.
Right?
And
don't necessarily take that the wrong way.
Yeah.
They probably just, thought it was an assumption. And maybe they've never had communication like that with anybody else.
But assumptions get you in trouble. You end up sliding into a relationship.
Or marriage.
And then, again, a couple months down the road, you're like, how did you get here? Like, I don't even know who you are. So I think it takes something to not have a reaction. And so, if someone does come to you and they're like, if they're unsure in some way, shape, or form, I wouldn't get upset by that, because there's obviously something that's going on in the space between you two that has them feel unsure in some way, shape, or form. And if it's not, and you reassure them, then it becomes their thing to deal with. And in relationships, you have to understand, even when you're dating, you have to understand what's yours, what's theirs, and then what's the thing that y'all are working on and building and creating together that y'all need to handle together.
No, and that is so important, right? Because you can be in a relationship with someone and they have trauma or don't have trauma. They're just not used to dealing with something a certain way, and you deal with things differently.
Yeah.
You still have to deal with it as a couple or dating or, sleeping together or whatever stage you're going to be at. And then each of you do still have to deal with it on your own as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's where compromise comes in. Right. There's certain things that I have to own. Like, it's just, this is with me. Like, you've done everything you can for the situation, but this is with me. So also in those scenarios, don't get upset or hurt if they're like, hey babe, like, this is all I can do. The rest is on you. Like, I'll support you through it, but there's not much more I can do here. Right.
I love that. And I think we have to do that early on in the dating process versus waiting until we're in a relationship with someone. Boundaries, everybody. Have boundaries. If someone has boundaries, they like you. I can tell you that.
You think so?
Yep.
So not seeing you too soon or, things like that, those are boundaries? They're
Say
good boundaries.
Say that again?
Not seeing you too much or, maybe there's pressure, right? That's
Pressure is not a boundary.
I mean, it is if they don't know how to explain it properly.
Well, okay, so wait, you got to break that down for me. Hold on.
Well, terminology, right? It's like how you got hung up on the word talking versus exploring.
Yep.
Right? Pressure doesn't necessarily mean pressure. They just might not know how to communicate the fact that, hey, I kind of like you. I don't really know where this goes. This is new for me. So it feels like pressure because you, as a coach, over communicate and talk. Well, and a lot of people are intimidated by that.
But what's the boundary?
The boundary is, hey, I'm kind of confused. I don't really know where I'm at with this and how to operate that.
Oh, so then you check in to see if they're in a space to be able to have a conversation. And then, so you check in. If they're open to the conversation, great. And then 2, you reassure first and foremost before you dive into the conversation of like, hey, this is a like judgment-free space. This is what I tell people because I know being a coach and, knowing all the dating relationship knowledge and stuff, people can be a little intimidated around that when they're having conversations with me, right? I don't know how it works for everybody else. So I have to let people know that, like, I'm not over here, like, judging you or anything like that. I do require that we communicate, right? And would like to, can we have a conversation about it? And that always seems to just open the doors up to other things. Now, knowing that, I think I would take on probably more of the responsibility to make sure that we are checking in and having conversations and seeing where we are. I'm not going to do that always because, again, it's still the responsibility of the other person to get to the point.
Learn to do that as well.
To learn to come to me and learn to have, conversations and to communicate. So, but this is kind of where that balance and that compromise comes in of like, I can kickstart it and model it, but I'm not always going to do that for you. You're going to have to meet me at some point in that aspect. But I can see
where there might be a little
where
bit of
there
a
might
disconnect.
be a disconnect as far as one.
Just like I said,
like the boundary thing.
The boundary when I'm going with boundaries, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
You communicate, and to your point, you have a lot of knowledge, a lot of skills. Some people have never, ever even had a healthy conversation outside of a relationship, right? They don't know how to set boundaries. They just know what they're feeling. And it may come out completely wrong,
so then you ask, like, and then that's where at the end you kind of, I always ask people at the end of like, what is it that they need, right? And that's where a lot of people can come in and set in boundaries.
But how many people have you dated ask you that? See? See? You are a lot
ask me what I need?
Yeah.
Well, they don't, because people assume that I don't need anything, or have everything.
And this is my point. As a coach, you see things through a certain lens because you've been doing it for so long, and you're great at reading people because you're a coach.
I'm great at reading people from trauma, but go ahead.
Well,
and being a coach, yes,
from both.
Being able to read people makes me a great coach.
So I think sometimes you may miss the boundary that they're trying to set, or not understand it because it's not coming out the way that you are used to coaching people or hearing or your trauma.
I will will look at that. I will take that on and look at that. See if I miss.
I'm just
Miss
saying.
boundaries.
I think you miss some things sometimes because of that.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, anytime.
Dr. Love and Romance over here.
Dr. Love and Romance. We're just gonna go with that name.
Dr. Love and Romance. Yeah, you said you wanted a title. That's it.
Dr. Love and Romance.
Dr. Love and Romance over here. That is good. I will have to look at that to see what
you know,
what
and
missed.
well, yeah, because you could assume that means they're not interested, or that it's difficult, or they don't know what they want, when in reality they just haven't gotten to your skill set.
Oh, they haven't gotten to my level yet.
So that's my life daily. You know that.
What shall I do in that? Just patience.
Well, patience, one, and I think you said it best, is for a while you're going to have to carry it, right? And help them relearn. Well, it's if you want to do the work, right?
Yeah.
But if you do, it's going to have to be you carrying it. You know, that's my life right now. You witnessed it last night.
I know. I love it.
I mean, and being the trauma that she's been from, I have to carry a lot of that, right? And there's a lot of things that I have to tell her, it's okay to feel this.
Yeah.
I'm not upset, but this is what it is. So
I feel like I walked into a trap today. Just then, in that last 5 to 10 minutes, I feel like I walked directly just into a trap. But I appreciate it because I got some good nuggets out of that. But yeah, we gotta talk about that bed. I think I'm taking it.
I told you. You might not want to take it now.
No, I'll still take it.
Well, I do want to hear from you guys some fun flirting or first dates that you've had. I would love to hear from them something like that as well, because
you just like the dates, you like
fun.
planning dates, all
fun.
that. She look, and if you don't know any dates, throw in some comments, so message us, whatever, and look, she'll hook you up. Dr. Love and Romance over here.
That's who I am.
I love it.
I'm gonna embrace that. I got the red and black on and everything.
I know. I have black and black on.
We did a theme here again on accident.
We did do a theme. I love it. I love it. Well, if there's anything that we missed as far as, things that you look for with someone that likes you or is flirting with you or whatever, please feel free to throw those in the comments. We got to help each other out. We're a community. So if we missed anything, throw those down there in the comments. If you have any comments about the dating stages, if you agree, if we need to use different labels, different words, so those in the comments as well. We really do want to hear from y'all and engage with y'all. Also check out the link below. If you have any questions, scenarios, or something that you would like us to answer for you and talk about on the podcast, on the show, then we will definitely do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun. I love doing this. We got to get some more on the books for you guys. That's another one. If there's anything else, any topics, right, you want us to talk about outside of this one, just to go back and forth about, please also add comments of that message. Just let us know.
Yeah, we're here. We're queer. We're a community.
Happy Pride Month.
Helping all of y'all for sure.
I have a feeling after this, she's gonna ask me some questions. I'm just saying.
See, sometimes the coach needs a coach too, or just a friend that is verse in the same aspect. But yeah, see, I need a little help too. I'm new out here doing what I'm doing, newly single, all that. So I do have some questions, as a matter of fact. So we're going to jump off here, all right? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure that you hit the notification so you can get notified anytime we post a video. And remember to trust and love one more time, always one more time. Love you guys.
Bye, guys.